Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 14 of season 2 of the F1 2020 McLaren driver career mode, where today we're here back for the Belgian Grand Prix. Yes, obviously we did the Belgian Grand Prix over the weekend in the Formula 2 series. We seem to have a lot of overlap at the moment. I think this weekend, yeah, in Italy are going to be pretty close together, but obviously as F2 jumps around the calendar towards the end of the season, these series, yeah, are going to shift out of line once again. But yeah, obviously if you guys are new around here, make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well to the channel, obviously, if you're going to enjoy this video. We're trying to hit 15,000 subscribers at the moment, so if it helps get one step closer to that, it would be greatly appreciated as well. But obviously, yeah, if you missed out on yesterday's video as well, with the February 2021 channel update, I would definitely recommend going back and checking that video out as well. You know, just something a little bit different for those of you guys that want to know sort of what's going on in and around the channel. But yeah, this weekend though, as we head to Belgium, obviously the summer break has all been done and dusted, and it is Mercedes that seem to have made the big upgrades heading into this weekend there. Obviously they jumped us heading into the Hungarian Grand Prix last time around, and they seem, yeah, to have pulled out a little bit of a further gap at the top of the field here. Whether that pace is going to come to fruition is a very different question nonetheless though. But yeah, you can see we've had a brilliant run of form so far this season. We've had two finishes that weren't outside that were outside the top two, even I should say, and that was 15th at China and 12th at the Spanish Grand Prix. Since then, it's been first or second every single race this season. We really have been on a very consistent run of form. Let's see if that continues here this weekend at Belgium. So here we are then, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix qualifying session, as rather unsurprisingly, tricky and changing conditions have greeted us at the circuit this weekend. We're going to try, we've got a pretty good setup I think on the car for the most part, so we're just going to up the front wing by one, hopefully obviously just give us a little bit of extra rotation into the corners. Obviously we need a little bit more downforce for these qualifying sessions, but yeah, practice felt really quite good, so I'll honestly be a bit gutted if we don't get a good lap hooked up in this qualifying session here. But anyway, here we go then for the Belgian Grand Prix. Nice and tidy down in towards La Source. Obviously, if you remember back 2018, we saw a brilliant qualifying session around this Grand Prix. One that I was actually there for in real life as well, so a little bit of a flex on my end as well as we head up and through a Rouge and Rally on there. Having to lift out the throttle very early, as we just didn't get the run we needed there. As you can see, Bottas, it is going to be interesting to see whether the upgrades Mercedes have brought are going to make the difference in the second half of this championship. Lando Norris, though, is still pretty much always the man to beat in these qualifying sessions here as we head through the first, or the second sector, I should say. Down the hill we go. We are right back up towards the front of the field here. But yeah, being gentle on the loud pedal is going to be absolutely critical to getting a good lap hooked up here as we head down the hill. Nice and tidy through no name. Ooh, almost clipping the wall on the exit there as you get all the way back up into 8th gear before you head into Puon. Down 2 in these conditions. Sometimes, no, that's not what we needed. That is not what we needed here in qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix. Just the back end tipped round. I think we just tipped a wheel on the white line there through there, and I'm amazed we were able to keep that out of the wall as we head down towards the final sector of the lap. But one-shot qualifying has really gone against us here today. We may as well finish off the lap, but it is going to be last place then on the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix, for the Belgian Grand Prix. That was scary. Heading down in towards the final couple of corners then, obviously making an absolute hash of that as well. It is Lando Norris on the pole, but for as much as I love this track, it has not been kind to us on F1 2020 at pretty much any point.
We're all ready for tomorrow's race, but before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who will be fronting the grid. Norris, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
There we go then, Lando Norris, still the fastest man by 0.02 of a second over Valtteri Bottas there for the second weekend in a row. The top three separated by less than 1/10 of a second as well. But Renault, Ocon in 4th, Daniel Ricciardo up in P5 there. A brilliant qualifying session from those guys. They're 4/10 clear of Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez there. As you can see, Albon, Gasly and Charles Leclerc rounding out your top 10 there. Seb resumes his pretty much constant P11 or 12 in qualifying sessions here, and obviously then you can see the rest of the order. 10.1 of the pace there. If I'm not mistaken, our F2 qualifying time was quicker than that, but let's dive in then here to the Belgian Grand Prix.
Welcome along then to the Belgian Grand Prix, the race that gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special around one of the many corners of this fan favourite circuit. So here we are once again, ready to go racing through the Ardennes forest. 4.35 miles of long straights, fast corners and massive elevation changes. It makes this not only one of the most exciting circuits on the calendar, but one that makes for some consistently high quality racing as well. Simply put it, there really is no place quite like Spa. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn one. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are three main things to worry about there, Crofty. Positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Hamilton, Ocon, Daniel Ricciardo and Perez, Albon, Gasly, Leclerc and Sebastian Vettel. Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Daniel Kvyat and Magnussen, Grosjean, Latifi, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Russell and Mr. Monaco. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Jeff here, radio check. Check, can you hear me? Okay, we had a fantastic result at the last race. Let's try it again here.
So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, and yeah, maybe the same result as last weekend from Jeff is a bold prediction here, ready for this race. But we've got 11 laps ahead of us, ready for this one, and that's going to make things interesting. Maybe some weather towards the end of the Grand Prix. I said it yesterday, Spa's unpredictability always coming in clutch as well there, and just maybe we could get a little bit of rain towards the end of the race there. I'm considering changing the strategy, but I just don't think it's worth it for this race. You know, if we can try and get up inside the top 10, maybe. I think we've got a 32-point lead in the World Championship heading into this weekend. If we can walk away with still maybe a race wins margin over Lando Norris, I'd probably be incredibly happy with that at the end of the day. I've lowered the front wing slightly as well. You know, we need to be flying past cars down the Camel Straight and up in towards the final chicane as well. So hopefully, obviously, we'll have the grip through the middle sector as well. But yeah, let's just get through the first corner nice and tidy, and then try and move our way forward in this Grand Prix. We're ready on the grid. Round 14 of the season here from the Belgian Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go. Not a very long hold on the lights as we try to put the power down in towards the first corner. Everyone moving to the outside there is all Raikkonen and Giovinazzi. Look at that, both Williams trying to look past a couple of cars through the first corner. Can we get around the outside? We haven't been collected. There is Raikkonen. Has been slopped right down to the rear of the field as we head down in towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. You can see everyone going side by side there as Russell and Giovinazzi. Almost a massive crash between the pair of them there. Use our ERS as we head at the corner there as George Russell tries to give us a big old squeeze up the Camel Straight. So we are up 2 places off the start of this Grand Prix. Giovinazzi a little bit earlier on the brakes than I was expecting as Russell under pressure from Kimi Raikkonen there. But I think the big winner out of this sort of back marker group has probably actually been Nicholas Latifi there, all the way up into P15 as we head down the hill. A little bit of contact as the Italian, who is yet to finish a Belgian Grand Prix, if I'm not mistaken. He's been on both occasions he's been to this circuit as well there. Yeah, Giovinazzi, maybe today is the day he finishes a Belgian Grand Prix on F1 2020 there. Down through P1 for the first time. Yeah, once I think we got the rubber up temperature, things are going to be looking good. But I've just had a look at the mini-map. Lando Norris is built up like a 2-second lead already as we head in towards the final sector of the lap there. So no idea how our teammate has managed that in this Grand Prix. Let's try and get a good run at a Blanchimont. You can see at Stabilo even, we've got a huge run up and towards Blanchimont, straight past Giovinazzi. As I think a lot of the AI struggle a bit more with their ERS. We won't go for a move on Grosjean in towards Blanchimont, but we will get a good run off the exit there, down the outside, in towards the final corner of the lap. Careful not to run to the back of Latifi, and we are at 4 spots then by the end of the opening lap here. But Lando Norris leads the way ahead of one of the Mercedes there. The Renaults really duking it out with the Mercs there as well. I think it's Mercedes, Renault, as we head back down through turn 1. Hopefully we can try and get a run on Latifi as well. Rouge and Rally on once again. It's such an iconic corner. Probably the best in the world in my personal opinion there. But Latifi, yeah, Williams just don't have the straight line speed to really match us at the moment there, rather unsurprisingly. So we move ourselves up into P15 of the race. And now we've got past all the backmarker cars pretty easily. Next up, Daniel Kvyat. Let's see if the Honda-powered AlphaTauri is a match for us up in towards the final couple of corners. We're trying to be careful with our ERS though. Very, very easy to get through a lot of it at the start of the Belgian Grand Prix, but we're pretty close to Kvyat. We might be able to go for a bit of a send on the Russian driver there. He gives us a bit of a squeeze onto the curb in there. As you can see, Verstappen and Magnussen actually going side by side. So I said we will pass all the backmarker cars. Magnussen duking out with the Red Bull as we head onto lap 3 there. Still side by side though with Danny Kvyat. Back down in towards the first corner. DRS has now been activated. I'm up into P14. Oh, they're 3 wide in front of us as we head up the Camel Straight there. Looks like Magnussen has been swamped by Stroll and Max Verstappen there as we head in towards the next couple of corners. Can we potentially get a run on Magnussen as well there? He's already lost 2 places in that one moment. He's going a little bit defensive on us, but thinks just about getting to slow down onto the apex. Does K-Mag there. But yeah, Verstappen and Stroll though moving past him. Where are we off? Huge amount of understeer as we head down the hill. Team saying rain in 15 minutes, so it could get a little bit damp before the end of the Grand Prix there. As Kvyat trying to look up the inside through Pouon. He might just have made the move work there. We'll have the inside in towards the Fagnes chicane. And I think, yeah, nice attempt by Danny Kvyat, but was never quite going to work out. Get a run, buddy. Don't really want to be battling you for all too long in this Grand Prix. And look at the overspeed on the Haas car there. Straight up the inside before we even get towards Blanchimont there. It wasn't even like we had to worry about it as we head through nice and tidily. I'm up to P13. Getting a good run on Max Verstappen here, who doesn't quite have the same top-end speed, but look at that Stroll as well. Going to have to go a bit defensive on the pair of us as we head up the end of the Kemmel Straight there, and that's going to be a cheeky double overtake pulled off right around the outside of the pair of them there, as I think they were too busy worried about each other. And we're up to P11 out of nowhere, 1 place outside the points, and we're only on lap 4 at the moment. We've got the 2 Ferraris next up the road, but so far this race has gone pretty much perfectly. Yellow flags out. Who's got issues? I think it's a car behind us. This one, I think it's a backmarker car, in all honesty. So yeah, really not going to make much difference to my day. It's Danny Kvyat. Oh, VSC? Is it worth pitting now? Do we take the gamble? I think it's worth taking the gamble. If Lando Norris doesn't pit in front of us, I think, yeah, it's worth pitting. We're going to do so. So Lando does stay out then in this Grand Prix, as we're going to try and pit under the VSC, try and leapfrog our way up the order here. No one else is taking the gamble, so clearly no one else thinks it's worth it at the moment. We're going to dive on in, try and lose out a little bit of time here. Oh, that's not quite what we needed. The VSC coming to an end as we head into the pit lane. We should gain a little bit of time out of it still, but green flag racing once again. Not ideal. Good tiny pit stop though, 2.5 seconds. Isn't all too shabby there, but yeah, that's rather frustrating for us in this Grand Prix. We're going to be back at the rear of the field. 7 laps to go here of the Belgian Grand Prix. Now we've just got to get our head down and focus on keeping these mediums in good nick in the Belgian Grand Prix, but it looks like we're going to have to try and battle our way through the backmarker cars once again here in this race. Russell, Latifi and Kimi Räikkönen there just in front of us, as I think Räikkönen has now dispatched of the Williams. Still clearly just the slowest car in Formula 1 at the moment there. Let's look at the run we've got on George Russell. He's going to go defensive. Why, mate? We're not racing you anymore, please. Just let us by as we head down the hill in towards, oh, a little bit of contact wheel to wheel. But George Russell finally does accept defeat there. I mean, we've got ourselves up back into P18 of the Grand Prix. But yeah, this is not what we need at the moment. We're running very, very wide through Pouon. Almost making the same sort of mistake we did in qualifying. Down in towards Fagnes once again, all over the back of Latifi here. Through the corner we go. We've got so much extra grip, so much extra pace over these Williams cars at the moment. You can just tell, practically pushing him through the corner there. Can we get a good run on the exit? Latifi going to go defensive on us, but it's not really going to be much worth. So we get round him up into 17th. Raikkonen just in front as we got the first few cars into the pits as well here. This race has really been action from the beginning so far. It's already over the halfway stage in this Grand Prix. Oh, Raikkonen, what you doing, man? A huge brake check in towards the final corner there as the AI takes such a weird line into the pit lane here. We are going to move ourselves right up the order though, but this damage is surely going to cost us now between now and the end of the Grand Prix. We've actually come out, look at that, right next to Lewis Hamilton in this Grand Prix. So the undercut has worked absolute wonders here at the Belgian Grand Prix. But now we're really going to struggle to capitalise on the pace we've had so far in this race. Can we potentially get a run on Hamilton as we head up the Kemmel Straight? There was still about half a second back. Yeah, I think we're going to be a bit too far back this time round to go for anything on the Mercedes. And surely now, as we head through the twisty bits again, yeah, look at that. We're going to really, really struggle, but it's just not worth pitting again. End of 7, last few cars into the pit lane, so it is going to be interesting to see where we come out in this Grand Prix. I'm going to guess P4 behind our teammate and the Mercedes here. We might be around one of the Renaults of Esteban Ocon as well there, as yeah, it's just through the twisty bits. You really do notice the loss of front-end grip. It's definitely costing us time, but it's not impossible to still race with at the moment there. As you can see, still setting a mid-30, 43 even on that lap. Through turn 1 once again though, and yeah, it is going to be P4, right near with the Renault of Esteban Ocon there, so I couldn't have predicted that much better had I tried. But Bottas has come out on a set of hard tyres to go to the end of the Grand Prix. That was almost us into the wall and ending our own Grand Prix. But yeah, 4 to go though, as the Mercedes duking out up the Kemmel Straight. Who's going out on top in that battle? It does appear to be Valtteri Bottas, who's moved back around the outside there. So yeah, 4 to go. We're pretty much where you'd expect us to be in this Grand Prix here. But can we defend from the Renault behind?
Just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
Just over 2 to go then here from the Belgian Grand Prix. And it really looks like Ocon and Perez battling out behind us is coming in clutch for me at the moment there, as they just seem to be squabbling through the start of the middle sector. Has really just allowed us to maintain the gap that we've had. You can see the way the Mercedes have pulled away from us though in towards the final few laps of this Grand Prix. But I think, unless anything crazy happens now, it's going to be the first time all season we're going to have scored points that isn't first or second here. Obviously we've had those 2 non-point scores, but apart from that, every other race has been first or second. And Belgium, I give this track nothing but love, and all it does is throw it back in my face. To the final lap then of the Grand Prix, it looks like it is Sergio Perez who's really been able to once again prove himself as king of the midfield here. Renault have looked to have the quicker car all weekend, but apparently Perez still now 2 seconds clear of Ricciardo and Ocon, who continue to duke it out there in the battle. Yeah, well, within the team. They can just see now, though, as we head through a Rouge for the final time. The track getting a bit overcast, as was that a couple of spots of rain? No, I think we got away with it for now, as Hamilton and Bottas still duking it out up the road. There's battles going on all around us, but we are very much in no man's land towards the end of this Grand Prix there. As yeah, I think now Hamilton has made the move work on Valtteri Bottas, so a critical extra couple of points in this Grand Prix potentially for Lewis Hamilton, as he's hanging on by coattails at the moment to the championship battle. I think you'd be mad now not to put money on one of the McLarens walking away with this World Championship. And despite more upgrades from Mercedes, one thing is still clear. Lando Norris and myself, as long as Kimi Räikkönen doesn't brake check me, are still very much a difficult to beat squad at the moment. Mercedes got a couple of wins early on in the World Championship, but since then we have practically been untouchable throughout a lot of the World Championship. Ricciardo, I think, has been the only one that's been able to stop us in most weeks. I think since what? Spain? No, before Spain. Must have been, what, about China, I think, was the last time Mercedes might have won a Grand Prix there. In fact, I'm not even sure they won the Chinese Grand Prix as well. But in towards the final few corners of the Belgian Grand Prix, the rain isn't quite going to arrive in time to make any sort of difference there. Lando Norris, though, comes through to win the Belgian Grand Prix, their fastest lap as well, right at the very end there. Hamilton takes it back away from him with a 1:41.9. Through the final corner we go, though. It's going to be P20 to P4 with a 44.0 last lap.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
what a great race then, and what a magnificent victory here at the Belgium Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight. So, let's review the drivers' standings. Well, the gap at the top of the championship has been cut down after a difficult race today for our championship leader. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to Mr. Monaco. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. McLaren continue to increase their gap at the top. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Belgian Grand Prix, and it is Lando Norris, pole position and race victory there. Didn't quite get the fastest lap, but yeah, pretty much a walk in the park for our teammate at the end of the day there. Hamilton, P2, does bag the fastest lap, gives him 19 points at the end of the day, with Bottas in P3 there. Myself, fourth ahead of Perez, both Renault's Ricciardo and Ocon, Albon, Gasly and Charles Leclerc rounding out your top 10 there. Max Verstappen made no progress from 11th on the grid after his grid penalty, but did finish ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll there. Magnussen, you can see, king of the back markers there, actually comfortably still clear at the end of the day, ahead of Giovinazzi there. Raikkonen and then Romain Grosjean, and then both Williams, with just Danny Kvyat not making it to the checkered flag. That means championship-wise, the gap down to 19 points at the top of the field there, as Hamilton in P3, still just 7 ahead of his teammate Valtteri Bottas. That is certainly another battle to be looking at the moment there. Perez still comfortably king of the midfield there. What's that? 39 points ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there. Verstappen still in 7th ahead of Charles Leclerc, Ocon there and Vettel, with Albon now up into 11th ahead of Pierre Gasly once more. They see no other changes down the rest of your field there. Constructors-wise, 148 clear. That's what, 3 race weekends, nearly 4 race weekends clear now of Mercedes as well, so surely it's a matter of time before we're lifting up the Constructors' Championship there. Red Bull and Ferrari tied, though, on 124 points. Is certainly going to be another battle to watch out for between now and the end of the season there. Renault and Racing Point 4 between those guys as well. There's plenty still to be decided. Next time around, though, we will be back ready for the Italian Grand Prix. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well. And yeah, like I said, we will be back. The Temple of Speed returns. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.